Cheesman in Boston. Do you ever wonder where God's going to take you? You shouldn't. Let me tell you why. Because God knows where you're going. He knows where you've been, and He's your best roadmap. And in fact, one of the reasons that I like to spend so much time with God in the morning is because He knows what my day entails, and I don't. So it's always good to go to the source to know where that is. But one of my favorite stories of this is actually, I might cry on this one, but it's in Deuteronomy. And it's at the time when Moses is about 120 years old, this young guy, but he knows that he can't go forward. He can't lead the people into the land that they are going to settle in. And God talks to Moses, who is his friend, and says, your time is up. Due to something in the past, it is time for you to come home, and we need to select a new leader, and that leader is going to be Joshua. So Moses calls Joshua into the tabernacle, and Joshua is a perfect example of following God's roadmap with no idea of where you've been, because he certainly didn't know what was going to happen at the Red Sea. He didn't know what would happen when the water was bitter. He really didn't know with the Amorites what was going on. He was just fighting the war. And the beauty of Joshua was that he obeyed God and he loved Moses. And so that's how when God and Moses brought Joshua into the tabernacle, they knew that he would listen. And he did. And I like to think about Joshua in that moment. And I imagine he was praying, and I imagine he was crying, because Moses wasn't just Moses to him. He was his brother, he was his partner, he was his companion. And the people in the Bible aren't just people. They mattered. And they were the roadmap to get us here. And to honor Moses as a leader for God, as a friend to God, and as the man he was exactly what Joshua would have done in that moment. And then Joshua would have done what God said. Because it doesn't matter what state your eyes are in, as long as they're up. And it doesn't matter what condition your feet are in, as long as they're moving in the direction that God wants. And it doesn't matter, right, who you are saying goodbye to. It matters who God wants you to say hello to. And certainly Joshua had people to meet as he traveled past Jericho. There was a woman named Rahab. He would change her family's life quite a bit. And there were many others. The Israelites in general, he had to change. And that was the beauty of Joshua, was he followed God's roadmap. He was Moses' wingman, right? And this was the time to say goodbye. Moses calls Joshua a new name. Rather than Yahweh is my salvation, it means Savior, because he's going to lead the people. And I think to myself, God was probably going with him. And that's the other reason that Moses referred to him by that name. The beauty of Moses and Joshua's relationship is a testament to fellowship, to partnership. I see it so evident in themes like Priscilla and Aquila with Paul. I see it when we talk about the sons of thunder. I see that relationship. When we talk about Mary Magdalene following Jesus, I see that same relationship. Jonathan and David, Elijah and Elisha. There's so many great times where we just see these love and connections and trust and faith in traveling God's path, because God knows where you're going to go. So stop trying to take the wheel and give it over. Carrie Underwood was right. I knew. All right, guys. Happy Sunday, chatting at Cheesman from Boston. Remember, it doesn't matter where you've been. It matters where you're going, but make sure that God's behind the wheel, because his roadmap is the only one that matters. All right. Thank you, Moses. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your love of God. Thank you for being a friend. Happy Sunday. Chatting at Cheesman.